Imagine coming up with a brilliant new invention that has the potential to make millions, not just for your company, but for the country too. Is it yours or your boss's? Some might say if you think of the idea yourself, if you've worked on it at home after hours, it should be yours, not your employer's. Tonight's story is about a worker who walked away with such an invention and how his bosses accuse him of stealing what they say was rightfully theirs. All this happened in one of New Zealand's newest industries, the secretive and cutthroat world of pearl farming. Pearls from Paua. Richard Langston with the story.
It's a world entangled in secrecy, filled with the promise of great riches. A place where it pays to keep your mouth shut.
You wake up in the night and your heart's sort of pounding and you're thinking, God, I wish it would go away. Why have these bastards done this to me?
Those involved in the Paua pearl industry say it's war, and it's a very dirty war at that. There are allegations of theft, greed and betrayal. Houses and offices have been raided, and private investigators have donned wetsuits. And if all this seems excessive, so is the money they're chasing.
This is the results of all of the work and all of the effort.
So what, this is the closest you've got to?
This is the closest we've got to a round pearl.
Right. And when you get the round pearl, what sort of money could that fetch?
It's not inconceivable. It could be between 75 and 100,000 US.
US dollars?
Yeah, if the size was about twice the size of that, and it had this blue or a blue-green or a very vivid green colour.
This is a fortune in these little ones.
That's why we're in the business.
No one in the world has been able to produce that sort of pearl. A handful in this country say they're close to that ultimate prize. But even as half-round or Mabe pearls, they're fetching three-figure sums here and overseas.
Millions of dollars are involved here over time. I mean, many millions of dollars. I've just seen people turn totally greed, just become avarice, because they've known potentially what's out there.
And welcome back to Home Shopping. If you haven't bought it yet, the new rings are in from Lizzie McKenzie, the owner. We have a gold mine owner.
And a female, God forbid.
Someone told me a miner.
Liz McKenzie already knows the American market from selling gold jewellery there.
Only New Zealand abalone has this intense colour and this amazing lustre, and I think that they were just so surprised to think that it was a natural phenomena, not dyed or irradiated.
Let's just put in there an actual mining certificate here for you, where we actually have a numbered piece, okay?
From their Christchurch home, Mike and Liz McKenzie are selling Paua pearl jewellery to the world.
The perfect abalone pearl is amongst the most precious and the most rare of gems, even more so than a diamond.
That's not lost on their new rivals. At Shed 2 on Kaikoura Wharf, the big seafood company Pacifica is growing pearls. It won't say how many, and we weren't allowed in. The Mackenzies say Pacifica are only in the running because their research manager sold off the technology, something they believe is stolen property.
We weren't robbed of someone with a balaclava and a shooter, but we were robbed nevertheless.
The Mackenzies claim they were robbed by this man, Dick Langdon, former Paua diver, one of the pioneers of growing pearls in New Zealand, the guy who made the breakthrough while working for them.
Well, I don't see myself as a thief, and I don't see the invention being something that I had a duty to make for them.
Dick Langdon's invention is what the fight's all about. They say it has the potential to make millions. Is this about Dick Langdon making himself a rich man?
Yep. Why shouldn't I be rich? If lots of people are wealthy.
He used to work here on Stewart Island, collecting seaweed every day to feed the Paua. Dick and his old friend Ron Dennis grew pearls for the Mackenzies. But the lure of money that turned cray fishermen into connoisseurs of seaweed has turned mates into enemies.
It's bloody sad. The years that we had together and perfecting all these techniques, and he's gone out and given it to our competitors, you know, on a plate. You know, how would anyone feel? Trying to do something that is totally unique and hasn't been done before up until now, and find that someone else has gone around the back door, as it were, and pinged it all off.
I mean, they're just words someone said, really, aren't they?
He believes them, though.
Yeah, well, perhaps he does believe them, but I can't really help what he believes, can I? I can't influence what beliefs he holds for himself.
12 years ago, they shared a belief that they could take Paua from the wild to tanks on land and make them grow pearls. Two mates tinkering in a shed on Stewart Island. Now the Mackenzies own the shed and the business. And after all that's happened, Dick Langdon is no longer welcome here. Not so long ago, they wouldn't have let cameras in to film the process that creates Paua pearls. But now they say the secret is out.
We take them from the tanks after we've established them, you know, in the aquariums that we have here for about a month for them to settle from.
Once they're settled, it's time for the closely guarded secret, the tiny plastic implant.
Okay, this one here now is pretty well anaesthetised. We'll take them out, put them under the light and lift the mantle up. And then this part of it, we want to put the implant right round the back here and behind the heart. We'll make a little incision with the scalpel in here, which exposes that. Yeah. Okay. Let's cut the membrane in there, and there's the implant. And we'll push that right round so that it's sitting in place. On the back of them, we've also got some glue that holds them in place so they can't actually spit them out. Yeah. Okay, and then now it's ready to go back into the tank.
The Paua stays in the water for 2 to 3 years, and then it's time to harvest it, which is something of a moment of truth, because it will have either produced hundreds of dollars worth of pearl or nothing. And there it is. This one has produced a pearl.
My invention is basically the thing that lifts the success rate in half pearls up to a viable level for people to grow them. Because I know very well before it wasn't economical to grow them.
What Dick Langdon did was modify this piece of plastic so Paua are more likely to grow a pearl and grow it faster. A small thing that's caused a lot of bother.
We've got our arse on the line on this. We're hanging out there for every bit that we can because, I mean, it's been our baby.
Dick Langdon perfected his invention for half-round pearls. At the same time, he was working for the Mackenzies on a government-funded research project in Kaikoura. Down in Christchurch, Mike and Liz Mackenzie only found out about it when they went to the patent office to protect their growing techniques. They discovered their employee Dick Langdon had filed for 3 patents more than a year before.
He sat in there for 15 months knowing that he had lodged a patent application. Never said one word about it. Not one.
How much integrity does somebody have that does that sort of a thing?
As to sitting there alongside you, you know, week after week, saying nothing, knowing, you know, oh, I'm getting, I'm going to get rich out of this.
I've invented something which I believe is mine and I have complete right to, and somebody else has decided that they'd like to have it, and at the moment they're trying to take it.
Don't you think they have any claim? Even though you were working for them at the time you developed it?
No, not at all.
And Dick Langdon, believing he had the sole right to the implant, advertised his invention on the internet with the aim of selling it.
The North Americans are now looking at growing abalone pearls in their native species, and we know for a fact that some of that technology was developed from photographs that had been shown on the internet. So to say that we're the sole loser in it is not the case. The country's now the loser.
It's a normal step when you're developing a new product, isn't it?
But
People need to know about it before they're going to use it.
But do you need to tell them how you did it?
I didn't tell them how I did it. I told them what I'd observed and what I'd come up with.
The Mackenzies fought to protect their business, taking court action to close down Dick Langdon's website and claim the rights to the invention. And they went looking for evidence that their rivals had got the jump on them. They got search warrants to raid houses and hired a private eye to spy on one competitor, Seawright Investments, near Christchurch. He went diving at the Paua farm to see if they were using any of Langdon's implants. It's pretty incredible stuff, isn't it? You're hiring a private detective to dive at night to check on one of your competitors.
But we just had to really find out how far these implants had gone. How many people were using them? Because Dick Langdon wasn't going to talk to us, and everybody else was like totally closed mouth. We couldn't get any information from anywhere.
The private eye found nothing, not even Paua. But in the employment court, it was revealed that Seawright bought 100,000 implants, and Pacifica in Kokoda ended up with 200,000. You don't deny that you sold them?
I don't want to discuss it.
Yeah, you see, that's why...
You've got the records and you've got access to them, so you can say about it what you will, but it's important to me to leave the subject alone.
Important, because after leaving the Mackenzies, Dick Langdon went to work for Pacifica to grow Paua pearls and signed an agreement he wouldn't talk about his work.
I didn't go and solicit them for employment, if that's the right word. They came to me. So, I don't see it as being part of an evil plan. Really?
Dick Langdon says he came up with the invention for half pearls while experimenting with Paua in tanks at home, not at work, where he was researching round pearls for the Mackenzies. Pacifica paid for a lawyer to defend him against the Mackenzies in court.
They've been supporting his court case, etc., because they had vested interests at the end of the day in him having a successful outcome.
But the judge sided with Dick Langdon. He ruled there was no doubt the invention was his and that it was outside the work he was doing for the Mackenzies. The Mackenzies were stunned.
We were gobsmacked. You know, to put it in simple vernacular, we were absolutely knocked over.
And I just failed to see when he left us at 5 o'clock how he could go home and do all this research in some huckery old aquarium that was part-time bubbling.
The Mackenzies went to the appeal court, and this time the judge sided with them. He said the employment court should have taken a wider view of Dick Langdon's responsibilities to the Mackenzies, and the invention wasn't the work of one person, it was a team effort. Well, you wouldn't think you'd read about.
Hey, it's movie stuff, really. We just don't sort of have, I don't know, what component's missing?
We haven't got any sex in it yet. I think that's what's missing so far.
No sex, maybe, but it's got very dirty and very personal. In the court case and newspaper reports, Dick Langdon says he was cast as the villain, and a bankrupt one at that.
Yeah, it's something that's been used by the opposition, you know, with great bloody enthusiasm, I suppose. The simple fact is that in 1992, the IRD took my books away from me. 4.5 years later, they bought them back and handed me a penalties and interest bill in excess of $400,000 you can figure the rest out for yourself. It's been pretty hard. It's been pretty hard on myself. It's been hard on my family and a lot of other people that have been involved. It's involved an enormous amount of people, this thing, this saga.
You've got no doubt you're the good guy here.
I'm definitely the good guy, otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't have sued them. I mean, we were the plaintiff in this, we weren't the defendant.
And you're not just as greedy as they are.
I'm not at all. I mean, sure, I want to make a buck. I'm not going to make any bones about it. But we've done it the fair way. I'll just leave these here with you so you can get these sorted later on.
But Mike Mackenzie also has a financial past. In 1997, he was banned from being a company director for 3 years. A government report called him a commercial hazard. It said mining companies he started went bust in the 1980s, leaving debts of $7.5 million.
I don't think that I am a commercial hazard, and obviously others don't share that view. That's a long time ago, Richard. I mean, my past is that they're relating to is a long 10 years back. It relates to 87, not to recent times.
People might think, is Mike Mackenzie a man I can trust?
Well, my business partners obviously think so, and they've invested considerable time and energy in our relationship, and we've certainly moved a long way forward because of that.
This is the Mackenzie's next project, another Paua farm and tourist centre in Kaikoura. It stalled because of the upheaval and expense of the court case, but they're still shooting for the gem that promises real riches, the round Paua pearl.
We are probably, of all of the firms in the world, probably the closest to actually being able to crack the nut.
But there's still an awful lot to go. I mean, there's still a lot more that needs to be done in it. But it's just a matter of getting funding, really.
Have you really got the stomach for more of this?
She's feisty.
ask people that know me. I can cope.
There you go. Dick Langdon now makes his living as a barman after parting ways with Pacifica. But he still dreams of becoming rich. Do you think if you'd stayed, you could have got to the stage where you developed a spherical pearl? I mean, that's the big one, isn't it?
Mm. It's in my head. I believe it's in my head now.
You know how to do it?
No, I believe that I know how to do it now, just through thought and, I think about powers a lot, so I guess they roll around in my head, these ideas, and, I don't have a crystal ball, but I believe that if I was given the right resources and 18 months, I could do it.
But, I mean, at the moment, everything's turned to custard, as they say.
Yeah. I was thinking of something with a different colour, but custard's fine.
The Employment Court is expected to decide who owns the pearl invention within the next month.